Okay, when you think about what keeps your boat humming along, what's the first thing that pops in your head? Probably the big stuff, right? The engine block, the prop, the fuel system. But you know what? Today, we're going to talk about the humble, often totally overlooked hero of your engine, the spark plug. It's a tiny little part, but it has a massive job, and believe me, getting it right is absolutely crucial.
So picture this. You're in a jam, the marine supply shop is closed, but the auto parts store down the street is wide open. You need a spark plug. Can you just, grab one for a car? I mean, they look pretty much the same, right? They spark, they ignite fuel. What's the big deal? Well, that's a super common thought, and it can get you into a world of trouble.
I just love this quote because we've all been there, right? Thinking we can find a clever shortcut. Our source material shares this great story about a guy who figured car plugs and marine plugs were basically the same thing. Well, that little mistake ended with him getting a very long, very quiet tow back to the marina. It's the perfect and kind of painful cautionary tale that sets up exactly what we need to dig into.
And that confusion, that's really the heart of the problem. Not understanding the huge differences between these two little parts is what leads to bad performance and worse, some seriously expensive engine damage. So let's break down what actually sets them apart.
It all boils down to the environment they live in. Think about it. A car engine lives in a pretty cozy, dry, controlled space. A marine engine? It's in a constant battle with corrosive saltwater, humidity, you name it. Marine plugs are built for that fight, using special metal alloys to resist corrosion. Your standard car plug just isn't. It would be like sending a soldier into battle with a cardboard shield. It's just not going to work. And this really says it all. This isn't a friendly suggestion. It's a hard and fast rule from the experts. And it's not just a performance issue. Big-time manufacturers, like Mercury, for example, are really clear about this. Using the wrong plugs, non-approved plugs, can cause engine failure. And it could even void your warranty. Yikes. So let's talk about what actually happens when you get this wrong. We're not talking about a minor little inconvenience here. We're talking real, tangible consequences, from your boat running like junk to being completely stranded miles from shore. That tow back to the marina we mentioned, that wasn't just bad luck. It was a direct result of using the wrong part. The good news is your engine will usually tell you when something's up. You just have to know how to listen. You might feel a little misfire or a hiccup when you hit the throttle. Or maybe it's idling really rough and shaky when it should be smooth. A really common one is just a loss of power. You're not getting on plane as fast, or your top speed just isn't what it used to be. These are all little warning signs from your engine, basically crying out for some attention. And hey, it's not just about how the boat feels, it hits you right in the wallet too. When your plugs aren't firing the way they should, your engine is just not burning fuel efficiently. One study actually found a 15% jump in fuel consumption because of a single faulty spark plug. Now think about your fuel bill for a season, and then add 15%. Yeah, that adds up fast. You know, the cool thing is that the spark plugs themselves are like a little report card for your engine's health. When you pull one out, a happy, healthy plug should have a nice, light tan or kind of grayish-brown color to it. But if you see wet, black soot all over it, that's a sign you could be running a rich fuel mixture. If it looks white and almost glazed, like pottery, your engine might be running way too hot. It's a simple visual check that tells you so much. All right, enough of the doom and gloom. The best part about all this is that changing your spark plugs is a totally doable DIY job for most boaters. So let's flip the script. Let's move from the cautionary tale to the empowering solution. Here's how you can take control and get this done right. Okay, before you even think about picking up a wrench, prep and safety are everything. First things first, always disconnect the battery. Start with the negative cable. Make absolutely sure the key is out of the ignition. And here's a huge one. Clean the area around each spark plug really, really well. The last thing you want is a bunch of dirt, sand, or gunk falling down into your engine's cylinder. That's a bad day. Now, the actual process is pretty straightforward as long as you take your time. Gently twist and pull off the boot. Loosen and take out the old plug. Now, pause and look at it. Remember what it can tell you about your engine's health. Then check the gap on the new plug. Even if the box says it's pre-gapped, always check it. A tiny bit of anti-seize on the threads and some dielectric grease in the boot makes everything easier next time. Then, carefully thread the new plug in by hand before you torque it down. And speaking of torque, this number is so important. Now, this range you see here, 15 to 20 foot-pounds, that's just a typical example. You absolutely must check your owner's manual for the exact torque spec for your specific engine. If you tighten it too much, you can actually damage the engine block. Too loose, and it can leak. Precision is everything here. And here it is.
If you take away just one single tip from this whole process, let it be this one. Always, and I mean always, start threading the new spark plug by hand. This ensures it's going in straight. It prevents cross-threading, which is a disastrous, incredibly difficult, and very, very expensive mistake to fix. Please, just trust me on this one.
Okay, so now you know how to physically replace them. But how do you make sure you are choosing the absolute right plug every single time? This is where we take all the guesswork out of it and really refine the solution. The answer is really simple. Stick with OEM parts. That stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer. These are the exact parts that the people who designed and built your engine specified for it. They're the ones trusted to give you the best performance and reliability. Following the OEM recommendation is without a doubt the safest and smartest way to go. And this right here is the perfect example of why the details matter so much. We've got two super popular 150 horsepower four-stroke engines, a Yamaha and a Mercury. And look, they take completely different spark plugs. You'll notice they both recommend NGK, which is a really common OEM supplier, but the actual part numbers are totally different. The heat range, the design, everything is tailored to that specific engine. It just proves that grabbing any marine plug off the shelf isn't good enough. You've got to get the right one. At the end of the day, taking care of your spark plugs isn't just a random task. It's a core part of keeping your outboard healthy. It affects how it performs, how much fuel it drinks, and how long it's going to last. So the next time you're out on the water and you feel that little stutter or you notice you're burning through gas a bit quicker than usual, remember this. Your engine is talking to you. It's sending you signals. The real question is, are you ready to listen?